Imagine a world where the mob ran everything, from the streets to City Hall, from the unions to Hollywood, a world where no one dared to speak, and those who did, vanished. For decades, the Mafia ruled America like a shadow government. But then, one single wire, one hidden microphone, brought it all crashing down. Stay with me, because in the next 20 minutes, we're going inside the wire that changed history, the operation that turned the tide in the FBI's war against organized crime. And if you want more stories about how power, money, and betrayal built the modern underworld, subscribe, because what comes next will make you rethink everything you know about justice. The year was 1979. The Mafia was untouchable. The five families of New York, Gambino, Genovese, Lucchese, Colombo, Bonanno, controlled billions through extortion, racketeering, and blood. Politicians looked the other way. The cops, half were paid off, and the FBI, they were chasing ghosts. That is, until they found a man named Angelo Fat Tony Salerno, a mid-level mobster who thought he was untouchable. The Bureau bugged his social club in Queens, a single microphone hidden behind a picture frame. They called it Operation Donnie Brasco 2.0, the next evolution in bringing the mob down from the inside. What they recorded changed everything. Through that tiny wire, the FBI didn't just hear crimes, they heard the system. Conversations about judges being bought, truck unions being taxed, politicians on mob payrolls. They heard confessions that no one dared write down. One agent said later, "It wasn't just the mob we were listening to, it was America's dirty mirror." And the voices on that tape were the same men who ran New York like kings. But it wasn't enough. The tapes gave them leverage, not victory. To really take the Mafia down, they needed something bigger, a way to prove that the mob wasn't just random crime, but a criminal enterprise. That's when the FBI turned to a new law, RICO, the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. RICO allowed the FBI to connect the dots, to treat the entire Mafia like one massive company built on fear, blood, and profit. And those tapes? They became Exhibit A. It started small. In 1983, the FBI used RICO to indict bosses from 3 of the 5 families. Then came the commission trial, the trial that broke the back of the American Mafia. Wiretaps, undercover agents, and flipped capos became the new weapons. For the first time in history, bosses who never touched a gun went to prison for murders they only ordered. The jury's verdict sent shockwaves across the country. The mob wasn't invincible anymore. But let's be clear, the FBI didn't just win with gadgets and wires. They won because they learned to think like the mob. They infiltrated unions, ran fake trucking companies, even opened a nightclub just to lure soldiers in. They became ghosts in the system, silent, patient, ruthless. And as one old school agent said, the only way to catch the devil is to sit at his table. Still, the victory came with a cost. The Mafia didn't die, it evolved. When bosses like John Gotti fell, new players rose from the ashes. Russian syndicates, Mexican cartels, cybercrime networks. The streets got quieter, but the money didn't stop flowing. It just changed routes. The same FBI that once bugged payphones now traces crypto wallets. The war continues, just with new names, new tools, and the same deadly ambition. But the legacy of that single wire lives on. Every RICO case, every undercover sting, every time a kingpin falls, it all started with one decision: to put a microphone behind a picture frame and listen. That wire didn't just record words, it recorded history. The day America finally looked its monsters in the eye and hit record. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves true crime and history. Because the war between law and the underworld never really ended. It just got quieter. And as we've learned, it's the quiet ones you should be afraid of.